The lochs, rivers and sea lochs of Loch Lomond in the Trossachs National Park provide some amazing opportunities for all types of angling. So how important is it that people who are either taking up fishing or want to try a different type of fishing, how important is it that they come to a place like this to get some advice?
I think it's very important. First of all, I think they'll save money in the long term because they'll buy the right product first time around instead of spending twice. You've got 52 members of staff in here, each specialise in different areas of fishing, whether it be pike fishing, trout fishing, coarse fishing or salmon fishing, with regards to your national park. So there's plenty of advice available in here. So if you want to come into the store, just ask. Just let us know where you're going fishing, what species you're targeting, you'll get somebody who'll be able to help you out.
The rules for angling for salmon and sea trout, they vary depending on which river or which loch you're fishing on. But these rules are on your permit that you'll have bought, and they'll vary depending on the seasons and which species you're fishing for. These rules are fairly strict, and they've been put in place to protect the wildlife. You can hear the birds singing, and you can see that there's ducks and there's be good sights for otters and ospreys. National Park Police Officer Paul Barr is here to tell us a little bit more about angling for salmon and sea trout and the Loch.
So it's important that anglers have a permit before they start fishing for salmon or sea trout, and they must carry that permit on their person at all times, and they must produce it to the water bailiff or police. And this is probably the most common offence that a police officer will come across. Other laws that come into play are in relation to the safe return of fish. A kelt is a salmon which has spawned the previous winter. All kelts must be returned safely to the river. And at the end of the season, the fish that come in throughout the year get ready for spawning, they change in colour and they become laden with eggs and milt. These fish are classed as unclean fish, and at that time they must always be put back into the river. Anglers must use knotless mesh landing nets, and when they're returning a fish they should hold it for enough time so that the fish can regain its strength and allow it to swim off safely. Another law in relation to fishing for salmonid fish, which include trout and salmon, is that anyone fishing for salmonids must fish with one rod per person, which must be held in the hand at all times. The only exception to this when salmon fishing is when someone's trawling from a boat, and that person is allowed up to 4 rods in the boat whilst undergoing trawling. And we would wish that anyone who witnesses any suspected poaching to either get in touch with the local water bailiff or call the police immediately on 101.
At Lake of Menteith, you can only fish from boats, you're not allowed to fish from the shore. When you're fishing from a boat, there are some extra safety concerns that you have to take into consideration. So when you're catching and releasing a fish, you want to wet your hands first so that you don't rub any of the slime or scales from the fish. You want to unhook the fish in the water if you can, so as not to cause too much distress to it. You want to take the fish out of the water as little as you can. So that's how I've unhooked it. Taking the line away from it now. Completely unhooked. Take a very tiny little pheasant tail nymph there. Very small fish. It's very, very small fly for a very reasonably sized fish. Always exaggerate the size of your fish when you're fishing. So this fish is probably about £3, Paul, maybe?
Yeah.
About £3. Quite a nice silvery fish. Really strong one from the Lake of Menteith there. But we're going to return this one, so we'll just put the net into the water, make sure that the fish is strong and ready to go, let it swim away. The Loch Venator is very popular for fishing for coarse fish. Coarse fish are basically any other fish that is not a salmonoid, so it's not a trout or a salmon. Loch Venator is particularly popular for fishing for pike.
It's important when people are pike fishing that they look after the fish that they catch, because most pike are returned to the water following capture. We have a large knotless mesh landing net here. It's illegal to use landing nets which have a knotted mesh because they cause damage to the scales and slime of the fish, which can then cause infection to occur on the fish. And we also have an unhooking mat. And again, pike are quite large fish, and you know, they're powerful, and they would thrash about on the shore and potentially damage themselves. So if you lay it on a nice wet unhooking mat, it causes far less damage to the fish. The most important bit for the angler here is that there's a pair of forceps as well. Pike have very, very sharp, razor sharp teeth, and if you were to try and unhook a pike without forceps, you would cause yourself quite a serious injury. A pike angler or anyone fishing for coarse fish can use up to 4 rods on rod rest, so they could have another 3 rods set up in an identical way to what this one is here. It's important for all anglers, campers, anyone using the outdoors to take all their litter away home with them.
Conservation is important, especially in a national park. Some areas have got local catch limits, so please follow these catch limits to help preserve stocks, especially in places where it's mandatory to return salmon and sea trout. There'll be some advisory signage around, so please follow that signage and help to protect the wildlife and protect the rich habitats. Fishing is brilliant in the national park. If we all work together and follow these guidelines, then it can continue to be brilliant and it will improve for everybody. Everybody will have a good day. Thanks very much for watching our short film and enjoy your angling.